discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone abstaining?
Abstain.
Because Wayne was not at that meeting. And then before we
Main Street revitalization project's almost complete. But C.J. Miller has had several crews along Main Street to address punch list items such as areas of sidewalk not poured due to other pending work. One crew is planning the remainder of the landscaping, while another crew is installing the stamped concrete crosswalks and intersections. The retaining walls at 1334, 1414, and 1416 are now complete, and lamp posts are lit all the way through the project north to Reineman Avenue. C.G. Miller will mill and overlay Main Street from Shiloh Avenue to the northern railroad tracks in the next few weeks. Currently, they are milling the southbound lane from the northern railroad tracks to just south of 482. The on-street parking will be temporarily unavailable in the work zone as they work their way through Main Street. After Main Street's paved and marked, crews will apply parking space lines in the side parking lots where areas were previously paved. When the construction work has been completed, a final inspection will be conducted. Crews may remain on Main Street afterwards, addressing items discussed during the inspection. Hampstead Merchants Association held their September meeting at Luna Zoll with approximately 20 people in attendance. Their annual Vino at the Vineyard event, which is a fundraiser for their Manchester Valley High School Scholarship Fund, is scheduled for this Thursday, October 15th, and the town has reserved a table. Our commercial and residential projects continue to move forward. Excuse me. Hampstead Overlook received stormwater approval from the county. Last month, a public hearing was held for their preliminary site plan. The next step is to present the plan to the Planning and Zoning Commission for approval, hopefully within the next couple months. J.E. Myers is constructing the stormwater facility at Northside Estates. After it is completed, the last 2 lots will be advertised for sale. All the other houses in this development have been sold and are currently occupied. The county has received bids for the relocated and upgraded Hampstead North Sewage Pump Station project. The current pump station is located on Route 30, just south of the car wash, and the new pump station will be located to the back of the North Carroll Business Park. The county plans to break ground within 3 months. Concurrently, the Carroll County Department of Economic Development is marketing this portion of the business park and the parcel located by the 482 bypass circle. Dollar General received comments from County Stormwater Review. These comments were mostly addressing how items were detailed on the site plan. They plan to correct these details before moving forward. The Revitalization Committee hosted a Day of Gratitude this past Saturday. The event, I felt, was well attended with a crowd of over 100 people, maybe 100 to 150 people who came throughout the afternoon. The mayor will provide more details during his report. The town is in the process of bringing well number 36 online. The water line that now connects the well to pump house number 17 was installed in the spring. Public Works and the county have been working with the contractor to bring the well up to today's standards. Testing will be required by MDE before the well can be connected to our system. A study was conducted for the decommission of Hillcrest Tower, our smallest water tower of 100,000 gallons. The study results indicate that our water system would have adequate pressure and fire flow if the tower was removed. The Public Works will drain the tower during the hydrant flushing, which is going to occur on October 14th, and it will be disconnected from the water system on October 19th. Bids for the removal of the tower will be released shortly. So I just want to let everybody know, be careful when they do the hydrant flushing, because the water may be discolored, and be careful not to do laundry and those type of things.
That's tomorrow night.
It's tomorrow night, right? So, the one thing I forgot to put on my staff report is bulk trash is this Saturday. Saturday, October 17th is bulk trash. It's the last one, the last bulk trash for the calendar year.
Community yard sale. Any questions for Tammy?
Yes. Okay. Milling is on Main Street. Is that going to be completed this fall?
That's the plan.
Okay.
So they're planning on milling. The portion of Main Street that doesn't have the final paving is Shiloh to the Northern Railroad track. So right now
Okay.
they're on southbound lane. So they plan to mill and do the road, finish the road from Shiloh to the Northern Railroad track.
So that will be also final coat will be done this year also.
Yep.
Everything.
So nothing will fall into the spring of next year.
Punch list.
That's what they think.
Okay.
So,
If that all happens, what's the timeline for taking ownership of the road?
well, first, there may be some punch list items that need to be addressed, and then you have to start the paperwork with the state. So they process the deeds, and
Spring. It'd be my guess, Joe.
I would hope spring.
Okay.
Not
Anything else? All right. Deb, you want to start us off?
I'd love to. There was a public hearing about the Hampstead overlook, as Tammy had mentioned. The stormwater management was approved by the county. There were a few comments regarding the entrance being widened, which it will be, and there were traffic studies that were redone because of the Duff Island concern. And they're not sure what phase that will tie into development. The Planning and Zoning Commission, we had a paint color approval for 1232 North Main Street from the blue to gray, which worked within the $250 reimbursement program on the paint. And then the comprehensive plan, chapter 3, there were some minor changes where mixed use was an issue, residential business versus residential office. And that was really about it.
1232's the old Sunset, right?
1232 North Main is the old.
That Steve Rogers bought. It looks great. Did a great job. Okay. Almost Mr. Birthday Boy. Congratulations in advance, by the way. Your front number changes.
Pointing that out.
30.
The train station committee is not doing much right now. There will be no Christmas farmers market this year. Tree commission, we have a planning, hopefully sometime in the next 4 weeks, we'll be planting more willows on Willow Street. Thanks to Councilman Unglesbee for securing the sites for the planting. I'd like to thank the Public Works Department for picking up my slack and taking down the farmers market signs this past week. Appreciate that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Wayne. Marlene.
I checked with Keith to see if he had any end-of-season comments or insights. He said the customers were very grateful that there was even a market held this summer, given the challenges that everyone faced. He said the average Saturday attendance was 500 per Saturday, so that's a decrease of about 80% from previous years. Despite fewer customers, vendors seemed to do well, and even new vendors were especially pleased with their sales. And I just wanted to mention, if you got your merchandiser in your driveway, Danette has a really nice wrap-up article on the front page. And Keith has quite a few comments in here and just talked about the challenges that were faced during the summer. So everybody did a great job. And I think you were even kind of mentioned almost in passing, Wayne. So that's it.
Thanks. They did do a good job under very trying circumstances. Joe.
Nothing for parks this month.
Okay. Dave.
A couple things. Cemetery project is going rather well. I want to thank Dave Greenwald at the Northern News, who did an excellent article which spiked some interest in the project. I've gotten a lot of phone calls from residents who want to help and donate items. So that I want to thank Dave Greenwald for that. Also, we have a new sign that was made for the project by Bauman Signs in Eldersburg, Shannonbaum Signs, excuse me. And they've donated that to the town, so we'll be getting that within the next couple weeks. That's it for that. I also attended the Gratitude Festival, which the mayor will expand on. I got to work the booth out front, and good turnout, I thought, and everybody seemed to be really happy with what was there and for the merchants. Water. September 2020 average water usage was 348,000 gallons per day. October 2020 average water usage so far is 340,000 gallons per day. Rainfall total for September 2020 was 2.3. Rainfall total so far for October 2020 is 0.57.
Thank you. Lieutenant Gagler sitting in for the chief.
Yes, I'm standing in for Chief Snyder. For his report, the traffic safety, there were 10 accidents that were investigated. 1 was reportable, 9 were property damage only. The speed sign has been placed in 5 locations for about 40 days of display. Traffic enforcement was, we did 14 selective enforcements over an 8.5-hour period. 11 citations and 1 warning were issued. Overall traffic enforcement, we issued 26 citations and 49 warnings. They did 727 patrol checks at businesses and schools. Serious crime, we had 1 malicious destruction of property and 1 theft. Arrests, we had 2 adults for traffic violations and 2 DUI/driving under the influence of narcotics arrests. And for training, we did 133 hours of training. The topics included digital photography for crash and crime scene investigator, tactical handcuffing, instructor course, shotguns armor course, first line supervisor training, health and fitness, and child abuse and neglect.
Thank you. Questions for Stacy? Ken, anything to add on the fire department side?
Business as usual. We put the levy on our new leases last month. We have to have service mid-November.
Is that the one that had the flat? Oh, okay, so it's not yet out there. Okay, good.
We got it detailed last letter and straight 2 weeks ago.
Look forward to seeing the engine out there then. Thank you. All right, my report, been a busy month. Had a Maryland Municipal League board meeting where we picked the legislative initiatives for the league and the priorities for the league. And like in prior years, it's basically putting a lockbox around highway user revenue money so that when you're filling up at the pump, to the extent anybody's out there driving these days and filling up at the pump, what the tax money that's in Hampstead from you filling up here gets spent here on our roads. Obviously that money is going to be a lot less the coming year because, as you know, it used to be you filled up, at least me, you filled up your tank once a week. Now it's like once every 2 months. So, because nobody's going anywhere, nobody's traveling. You know, to follow up on the farmers market, Keith did a great job under trying circumstances, and you know, every week I was there, people were coming in, and it was like a supermarket, down one aisle, up the other, and they were definitely hitting all the vendors. So I'm good to hear they did well. The newsletter's out. 8 pages, 7.5 pages, chock full of information. One of those things is Halloween. We've had a lot of phone calls at Town Hall. Are we having Halloween? Yeah, we're going to have Halloween. And the mayors, we all got together in the past month too, and that was the topic of conversation. And I think we've all decided we're going to treat it the same, 6 to 8. And it's on the Halloween night, which this year happens to be on a Saturday, so that'll be fun. And just go to places which have a porch light on, if you choose to take part. We think the kids have been through enough and they deserve a little fun. You're outside, you're having minimal interaction, so I think we should be good to go there. Christmas tree lighting is another topic of conversation on what we're going to do. There's not going to be a Christmas market, obviously, because that's inside in that very small space in the church, so that necessarily wouldn't work this year. But November 20th, Friday night, we're going to do something. The schools are not in session, so that pretty much will probably kick out Spring Garden Elementary and Manchester Valley. But we're talking to the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts and maybe a church choir or two. Live nativity scene. It sounds like the church still wants to do the live nativity. we'll hopefully get a fire truck from the fire department and bring Santa Claus down. And the merchants are planning on sponsoring it. So, to some extent, we will have a Christmas tree lighting and decoration lighting, and those lights will be out there for all to see during the holiday season. Make the best of what we got. There was an auction of some excess land down at Duff, 11 acres. It sits right up against the Duff Road. You can see it from the bypass. And it was a state auction of surplus land. And it was interesting. Tammy and I went down, checked it out. There were 2 bidders, and they didn't even come close to the reserve price. So I think the state rules are they'll do it again. This time the bidders know what the reserve price is. They ain't going to get close. So then it'll be a negotiated sale. But it's just south on Duff as to where Hampstead Overlook is. So, it was an interesting process to go down and see that. As far as Main Street and the Day of Gratitude, we gave it our best effort on Saturday. My thanks to Keith Johnson and Judy Reed and Todd Calhoun, Catherine Turner, Chanel Harrell, Connor Eline, Tammy Ledley, myself. We were, several meetings to plan that. There was a lot of people driving by, a lot of people walking by. That was good to see. Bootleg played from 12 to 3. I think that was their first engagement since March. So it was good. Good to have people outside, and it was a good Saturday. As part of the Day of Gratitude related to that, we thought it appropriate to recognize C.J. Miller for all their work on Main Street. In particular, we wanted to recognize the 2 guys who were most, focused, and it was the major part of their job for the last 3 years, and they were Jake Orndorff and Mike Journey. They're the guys out there running that project day to day. Jake, in particular, when we first started this process out, 3.5 years ago, I don't know how many community meetings we had at the fire hall and other places, and it was always talk of the alternating one way and how we were going to do it. And Jake, got a hold of the project after they were awarded, and he said that won't work, and it will slow us down. And they basically started the flagging operation, which has been a little inconvenient at times, but it certainly moved the project along. And, from start to finish, from them starting to finish, it'll be less than 3 years. And we'll have a Main Street that we can be proud of. So, we thanked Jake and Mike with individual certificates, and then made it C.J. Miller Day in the town of Hampstead, and gave C.J. and their company a plaque with a key to the city on it for all the good work that they've done. And, like Tammy said, by the end of the month, they're pretty much going to be done. We've got a punch list of stuff, but it's relatively minor when you consider everything that's going on. And, we appreciate hearing all the comments. It's funny to hear that the one comment is it's too bright when the lights are turned on, because after years and years and years, it's been totally dark. So now that it's lit up, I think it shows very well. And for the most part, people are very pleased with the finished product. So I wish we could have buried the power lines, but, that would have been a whole nother discussion as far as cost and how much the town would have been on the hook for. So, I think that's it for my update. I don't think there's any unfinished business. On the new business, we have the reappointment of Mike Kuntz to the Ethics Commission for a term of 3 years through June of 23. Mike has served with us for numerous terms. I know Mike, I trust him. And to the extent we do have any issues, which, knock on wood, we haven't. I think he's very good, and so I ask for his reappointment.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, and Mike actually happens to be here, so we'll swear him in. You know how this works.
Kevin's on this side. Nobody told me.
No, just big type and just repeat after me. I, Michael Kuntz,
I, Michael Kunz,
do swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do swear or confirm that I support the Constitution of the United States,
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office as a member of the Hampstead Ethics Commission,
execute the office of a member of the Hampstead Ethics Commission
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Catch you later. Thanks.
See you, Brenda.
Yeah. Thanks. Might have to make a note or something. Couple other reappointments, which I added to the agenda as I was going through my list. They're not here, but we'll catch them up between now and the next meeting. Vicki Watts, for another 3-year term on the Board of Zoning Appeals. I think she's actually the chairwoman of the board, so it'll be good through June of 2023.
So
So
moved.
We'll take Marlene and a second from Joe. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thanks. And then Mike Josick on the Board of Zoning Appeals as well. I think this will be his second term. He'll go from October of this year to October of 2023.
So moved.
We'll do Joe this time and Dave for a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thanks. So just for anybody at home, we have the Planning and Zoning Commission, which is 5-year terms, the Board of Zoning Appeals, which is 3-year terms, the Ethics Commission, which is 3-year terms, and Tree Commission, which is sort of ad hoc but varying terms as well. All right, contract award for the water main and service line replacements, which will be all the remainder of the 1936 pipe that is not on Main Street, thank God. It is all off to all the various side roads. And we had 2 bids, one from Meta Industries and another from Mid-Atlantic Utilities. And Mid-Atlantic Utilities was the low bid, $578,595. And they're the same ones that did the water main on Main Street the first time.
Make a motion to accept the bid from Mid-Atlantic Utilities Incorporated for $578,595.
Second.
Any discussion on the bid? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And since it came in under budget and interest rates are so low, I asked Tammy and Kevin to check out, apparently we had a real bad break on our service line that's on Lower Beckleysville Road. It's a 12, how big a main? 8-inch, not 12. 12's Main Street. 8-inch main, which was put in the 1970s. I'm still trying to figure out something that was built well in the 1970s. That was all this prefab stuff and all this new stuff that was going to happen, and none of it lasts. So I've asked them to have Mid-Atlantic check that out and see what that cost would be and see if we can add it to this. So hopefully that works out, but we'll know more in a couple of weeks. We'll let you know. I don't think there's any other new business. Under ordinance and resolutions, we have the introduction of ordinance 537. I don't know if it was numbered on in your paperwork, but that's what it is. An ordinance concerning a general obligation bond for the removal and replacement of water mains and service lines on the specific streets that were mentioned in the bid that we just awarded to Mid-Atlantic Utilities.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion in the introduction? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And we've got a placeholder number of 740 on there, depending upon what they come back with on Lower Beckleysville. We might bump that up and amend that number. And we're done with all the old, leftover, deferred, outdated stuff that's in our ground. So, all right. And then, finally, in introduction of Annexation Resolution 43, the Hampstead Volunteer Fire and Engine and Hose Company, 0.437 acres along the southerly side of Upper Beckleysville Road, approximately 275 feet easterly of Main Street. And if people at home are wondering how the Volunteer Fire Company is annexing land into Hampstead, it's just a little slice of the back part of their property. Main Street is still one house wide for the town of Hampstead in various places, and so this is annexing in an alley because they plan to redo their entire footprint with moving the building to the back.
Okay, move to introduce resolution number 43, annexation of the Hampstead Volunteer Fire and Engine Hose Company number 1 property.
Second.
Second by Deb. Any discussion of that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Cole, you're here, and Ken's here. When do you guys think you might, any time frame for breaking ground?
So we're looking at May of groundbreaking for the phase 1, which is the back building, which will be the temporary fire hall. And then we're looking at November or December of that year to tear down the existing fire station. And then, looking about 11 to 12 months thereafter, and we'll be moving back into the new fire station, and then changing over the back building to a social hall, which will then complete phase 3. And then the social hall will hold up to about 300 people, and it'll be set up as a, the kitchen will be there, but we're really focusing towards catering type events, and it really is coming together. We're going to be introducing relation to the plan zoning on the 28th, and we're moving forward.
Good to hear. So do we have the farmer's market ground this coming summer? If you're in the back?
Nope.
Well, definitely not. Okay.
No, because phase 1 is basically tearing down the stage, where the dime pitch is, and all of that, get all its earthwork and dirt. We'll move the generator. All of that work is happening this summer, from May on.
Gotcha.
And the back entrance to Upper Beckensville, because that's going to be the fire department's exit and entrance during the phase 2 construction of the project.
Good to know.
Yeah, 2.
We'll work it out.
And we're looking at places for carnival and stuff like that we're going to hold off-site.
I got a parking lot at North Carroll.
Maybe. There's a possibility of discussing that.
I'm sure that that'll work just fine. Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll work. We'll make it work. All right. Any public comment? So nice to see actually a few new faces in the audience since we opened the place back up with COVID. Mike wanted to be here. Yes, sir.
Frank Hafel, 1300 North, 1300 Taylor Street. Dealing with the water tower that's being removed. My PSI at my house right now is 45 PSI, which is extremely low. Is removing the water tower going to lower my water pressure?
So we sent out a proposal, and we had our engineers that control and operate our modeling for our, which has real world. They came out and calibrated, and there is no change in the pressure or PSIs associated with removing the tower, because actually the overflow elevation for the one right there at your house and the one at North Carroll High School are identical. So there will be no changes. And then the tower at north end of town at Walmart, that has an additional 400,000. So we'll still have 900,000 gallons of water in the air first thing in the morning.
Second question. Can I have more pressure?
So when I came out in I believe it was last in May, there's nothing that we can really do on our side. But there are things that you can do on your side. And as I explained to you, the whole Taylor, Summit, and Hillcrest Street water mains were really done out of necessity, because folks along there had their wells were contaminated with MPDE. So it was done quickly. To my best of my recollection, it was not run through modeling, and where it would have been picked up that there would be pressure deficiencies up there. You sit on the highest knoll in Hampstead.
I love my view.
And you do have a great view.
Sits higher than Eagle Ridge? I don't think so.
It might. Yeah. And there's and it's all relative. The height of the tower versus the elevation of the ground creates the pressure. And so there are things that you can do inside.
The issue with that is the other day I lost power. If I would have lost power, I would have lost water.
You'd still have your 50 pounds.
Would it still with even with a pump in place?
Yeah. But you would essentially be putting in a pressure switch and a cold water tank, just like a house with a well has. And if you reach out to any of the local plumbers, they can. I know how frustrating it is.
That's only my first frustration. The second one's going to come in a minute.
You definitely have probably the lowest pressure that I'm familiar with in town. There's no doubt about that.
It doesn't feel like it. No.
Great view.
Oh yeah. It's the shower. I can't see it while I'm in the shower.
But to give you you some idea, like when we talk about Hampstead overlook out off of Townsville Road, that development, that all had to be run through modeling to make sure that there would be adequate fire flows and stuff, but Hillcrest, Summit, and Taylor was
It
not.
just didn't happen. I do
It
understand.
was, the town fronted the money real quickly, to get those mains in the ground, because people were drinking contaminated water up there.
When was that done? Late 90s?
Yeah, 99, 2000, I think. Something, it was staggered. Everybody didn't hook up all at once.
As a lot of people still are.
No.
My second issue is I am not rich. I pay, my most recent water bill is $146. That's double what people in town pay. Bought the house 8, 9 years ago. You would think, I might have been able to do a little bit of research, or a lot of research, because even the research I've done now, I finally figured out that I wasn't in town. But it would have been nice if somebody would have told me, because I probably wouldn't have bought the property. I mean, I paid over from 2017 to today, $1,782 approximate in water, and just in water. If I was in town rates, it would have been $945. Is there anything that you can do to help me out with this? This is just, it's killing me. I don't know, I don't know.
So you didn't annex as part of the?
I don't know. I get trash pickup. I get yard waste. I get bulk trash. They're gonna hate me this time because this.
Well, if you're not in town, you shouldn't be getting those things. You're in town.
Yeah, but why am I paying double my water bill?
Was that because of the capital improvements up there?
It's because
Yeah,
of
it's
that.
because they supposedly we have to pay the people that are using your water or our water, or have to pay double the rate until the pipes are paid for, which will be I calculated it out to be $90.98 by the time this is paid for.
Yeah, I spoke to you when I came back after a meeting with them.
It hurts. My sewer bill for this quarter is $118. I used to live in Roberts Field. Water was $30, and my sewer was, oh my God, $45. And now I'm looking at $146 for water, $118 for sewer, and it just doesn't seem to weigh right. I don't know.
Well, the reason for it was because there were all those contaminated wells up there. I mean, the
understand that.
decision goes back, I guess, 20 years. But, and all that capital improvement was done specifically for those homeowners in those couple of sections of road. And the council and mayor at the time, I guess that was my second term, didn't feel it was appropriate to put that on everybody in town, but the people who specifically were going to benefit from that. That's what the thinking was.
And it would have been nice if there would have been some kind of disclaimer, like if there's lead in my house, I have to be told that there's lead in my house. If I'm getting paid, if I have to pay additional fees for something that the town is giving me.
So on your offering, when you get your, not to cut you off, but on
Sure.
don't you want, realtors, don't they have to show what the average BG&E
Yeah.
and different
And
ones
water
are?
bill. Yeah.
But I mean, you're looking at all these documentation. I think that would be something special because I live in town. I've lived in Hampstead for 25 years. And I know what they relatively are. I just, I don't know. The only thing I think I'm trying to say is, yes, you're right, I did mess up. I should have looked, but I didn't. But now I'm having a hard time eating because you're costing me too much money on my water. It just seems overly, a little bit too much. It's one thing when the water was cheaper and we weren't paying as much money into it, but now the water's insane on the cost. And now you're building all these new houses and all this going on.
Well, actually, the new houses will offset.
It's not
that-
gonna offset that.
Well, if you look at it, the infrastructure's got to be there one way or the other, right? And 1936 pipe, 1970 pipe, I mean, the amount of water we were wasting into the ground and how inefficient that system was, plus if you looked at that pipe, you would have been grossed.
I've seen some really.
Yeah, you would have been grossed out that you were drinking that water. So, I mean, all that work needed to be done because it was deferred for so long. So, I mean, we've been in catch-up mode. I've been here 25 years. We've been in catch-up mode for 25 years. and we're finally now just catching up. And it's not cheap to, to run a water system or to operate a town.
Oh, no, I do understand, so listen to the numbers.
Yeah.
I do understand, and the taxes go into all that.
And we've been very, fortunate or not, we've been very fortunate with, how interest rates have moved, how we've been able to finance things, how we've been able to put longer term money in place, because these improvements are supposed to be in the ground for 50 or so years. So we try to even it out for the people who are going to be there for 50 years, that everybody who's on the system is not paying day one. That's not fair. And so that's why, your bill is increased.
A lot.
Yeah, and it's increased for a period of time, but 2098, you won't be there.
I will be, because I'm probably going to be right back there.
You won't be in that house.
I think that might be just a hair higher than my house.
Yeah, you won't be in that house. The thought was, don't make the people pay for it all at one time, and spread the burden, if you will, and the cost over a long period of time. And that's why it was set up the way it was. That's the way that's what we've done for everything. If it's a long-lived asset, to make sure that that amortization period of that debt matches it up.
So no.
So not right yet.
No help, no anything.
Well, I'll talk to Tammy, maybe with Kevin a little bit.
It hurts. Every time I get that thing in the mail, I see it on my email before I get it, and my heart skips a beat.
I hear you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for coming in. Anything else?
Yeah, I got something.
Oh.
I want to thank the town and everyone else that sent me cards and well wishes over the past couple of months. Appreciate it.
It's good to have you back. So, all right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thanks, Marlene. A second from Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Good night.